Hi everyone, so today I wanted to talk to you about separation anxiety. So for quite a lot of us, our routine has been totally changed and we're at home a lot more, working from home, and our dogs are having us around all the time, which is something they're not used to. So eventually we will be going back to work and we will be leaving our dogs again. And I want to share with you some do's and don'ts on how to make that transition to going back to work as smooth as possible for our dogs to hopefully minimise the risk of separation anxiety. So my first do is to maintain a routine. Obviously it's quite difficult at the minute with everything being a bit upside down. So what I mean by this is maintaining consistent meal times, consistent walking times, consistent training times, just to maintain a sense of normality for our dogs, so that from one day to the next there's not a constant shift, so they can keep their usual rhythm, their usual pattern, and just to maintain a sense of normality. So do spend time apart gradually. We call this STAG. So what this means is you're spending very short amounts of time apart to begin with. It might be 1 minute, it might be 5 minutes, and then you can build that up really, really gradually over a period of weeks sometimes, to a level where your dog can be left for much longer. So it could be that you leave your dog with some enrichment and you go and sit in the car for 5 minutes and then come back. So your dog is aware that they've left, and they have enrichment to keep them busy and entertained, and they're being left for such a short period of time, they're not feeling uncomfortable. Do crate train your dog if you have a crate or if you intend to use a crate. This means playing lots of positive games with our dog to get them used to going in the crate. So if you've ever done mat exercises with your dog, the exact same principles apply. You want to make it rewarding to be in the crate, and you can give them enrichment in there, you can give them toys in there. What you don't want you to be doing is closing the door on them straight away. We want to get them used to it really gradually and make sure they're comfortable and happy to be in there. The crate needs to be a safe place to be in, and not a punishment. So keep crate training really, really positive, really, really fun, and take your time with it. So do leave your dogs with enrichment. So this could be a Kong, this could be some homemade enrichment. If you want to learn more about that, there'll be a link to my DIY enrichment video. So do leave them with enrichment, do leave them with something to do, so they'll be less worried about where you are and more interested in a toy. And it also makes it a bit more of a positive experience as well. If every time you leave they get a Kong full of treats or their daily food allowance, that's a positive thing rather than just being left on their own with nothing to do, so they're not going to be worrying essentially. Do always return to your dog before they feel uncomfortable. It might be quite difficult to know when your dog is feeling uncomfortable. It might be vocalizations, it might be they've been destructive in the house, it could be anything like that. You can get cameras to watch your dog when you're not there. These are fantastic training tools for this. But do make sure if your dog is getting distressed to the point where they're being destructive, you're leaving them for too long and you need to take it back a step. It might be that you literally have to leave them for 30 seconds to begin with if they're struggling that much. It's a very, very slow process and it is a difficult process. So do take your time with it and make sure you're progressing at a level that your dog is comfortable with. So if they are howling, barking, whining, it's too soon and you might need to take it back. So do bear that in mind. This is a process that you absolutely cannot rush, and you need to progress at a level that your dog is comfortable. Do start practicing leaving your dog for short periods of time now. If you are working from home and you know you will be going back to work, it's really important that you start practicing now while you still have the time, because potentially when you do go back to work, your dog might not have been left for 6 weeks, say. So it's really important to put in the work now rather than when you need it. Because if things do go a bit awry and your dog does have separation anxiety and you're already back at work, you're then very limited on time to work on the issue. instead of we're doing the work and preventing it from becoming an issue. So we always say prevention is better than a cure. Don't suddenly leave your dog for hours at a time, especially if your dog hasn't been left for weeks, or if it's not in their routine to be left. If you suddenly leave your dog for 4 hours, that is going to be a shock to them and they will probably find that distressing. So do STAG, essentially. Don't just shut your dog in a crate. This is going to be disastrous for your dog. If they are just shut in a crate, they might find this very, very distressing and it might set you back quite a way. So you do need to introduce your dog to the crate in a positive way. The crate cannot be a punishment. We don't want that for our dogs. So do crate train them. Don't rush the process. This is one of those learning activities that absolutely cannot be rushed. It might be very tempting if your dog's doing well to push the boundaries. If they've done really well at 10 minutes, let's try half an hour. Whereas actually that might be too much. It might be that you need to progress in 5-minute intervals rather than half an hour intervals. It might be that your dog is able to progress in half an hour intervals, and that's brilliant if they are. But if they're struggling, do take it really, really slowly, and do know that it might take weeks or months to make your dog comfortable being left. But that's why it's really, really important to start practicing now while you have the time. So I hope you found those tips helpful. Do let me know if you have any questions, drop me a line and I'll try and answer them. But in the meantime, enjoy your dogs while you're at home with them, and bye for now.